Hello, hum community. I'm just going to adjust this to make sure volume is good. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning on the west coast of the United States. It's Pacific Daylight Time. And hello, good afternoon for those of you on the east coast of the United States and all over the world. We have some participants that we've met from Australia, we've met from England, I've seen participants from India, so welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Eileen Shoals, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm also one of the regular mental health practitioners that works with humhum, and I'm excited to be with you today. Alexandra, the co-founder of, or the founder of humhum, and I have been looking at some of the questions that have been coming through from our participants and customers, and we're going to use some of the IG Lives to answer some of the questions. So I wanted to say, in my work as a mental health practitioner, I've done a lot of work with couples throughout the years, and there are three things that I find come up quite a bit in sessions with clients. Communication obviously is an issue. Finances seem to be an issue, as well as sex. How often do couples choose to be intimate? Are they interested in polyamorous relationships? What is quote unquote normal, as far as like amounts of time to be intimate, and what exactly is intimacy? Is it actual sex with a partner, or is it everything that precedes actual physical contact with a partner and then everything that happens afterwards? So those are some of the things that come up on a regular basis. I also feel like as we grow and as we evolve, our personal style changes in a variety of ways. So recognizing that as we think about our own communication style with a partner, our own ideas and thoughts about finances, as well as our ideas and thoughts and feelings about sex, that it might change over time. And so recognizing that in relationships, maybe having a more malleable perspective rather than a fixed perspective, rigid rules about this is how it is, it may serve us better to be a little bit more flexible. Also, I wanted to present the idea of knowing thyself, knowing yourself, and treating yourself well. So what, in essence, we're talking about self-love and allowing self-love. This is what I've found throughout the years. Couples who really honor their individual self-love, they bring that into the relationship, and the couple dynamic benefits from the act of self-love. So self-love acts as a map to attracting the type of partner that you actually want, because the right partner is going to match your energy. They're going to respond to this incredible self-love that you are emanating. And if they also are on a journey of self-love and self-care, they're gonna recognize you. They're gonna see you, right? Because our vibe attracts our tribe. And so a high conscious being that knows how to honor themselves, love themselves, care for themselves in beautiful, radical ways, not ego, not narcissism, but just beautiful self-love. That's going to attract a partner that is of like mind. So that's a beautiful launching point. If you think about approaching dating from the space of self-love and self-care, you're going to bring in someone who's very much like you. They may be very different in a lot of ways, but your core values are going to be the same. And then one other thing I want to just present before we start looking at some of the questions that have come in is, don't forget there's a subconscious process, and their pheromones. And hi to those of you that are joining. Hi, George. Hi, Maribel. I see you. Thank you for being here. So there's subconscious, right? There's our subconscious, and then there's the pheromones that we emit. Pheromones are the hormones that we're producing. They're invisible. They create an invisible smell, and that invisible smell attracts people to us or repels people to us. So you know how dogs, they can sense fear, right? They can smell fear, and a lot of the time if someone approaches, they will just growl, and you don't even necessarily know why the dog is growling, but the dog is sensing the pheromones of fear that person is emanating. And so people, they're not dogs, but people also have this innate ability to recognize fear or trepidation, or feeling like this person doesn't really like me, or they're not going to like me, or I'm not good enough. People have the ability to sense that emanating from other people, and that oftentimes dictates the way that the relationship or the initial encounters go, because people are they're responding to your subconscious feelings about yourself. Not only what you're projecting to them about them, but your own subconscious thoughts and feelings about yourself. So imagine if you're launching from a space of rejection or dejection or feeling unworthy, then there's a biochemical response associated with those thoughts and those feelings, which are going to emanate from you, and then you're going to either attract or repel accordingly. So just remember, your subconscious process and your pheromones, two things that are invisible, are happening behind the scenes, underneath the surface, and they absolutely are contributing to the type of dating experience you have. So I'm going to dive into a couple of the questions that some of you have written to us. So the first question: how can I be sure what is driving my attraction or interest in a person? Is it me or is it conditioning? So what we've done is we've taken several questions from our humhum participants, we've put them together, and I'm going to answer some of those questions. So what I would say, give yourself permission every step of your dating experience, the beginning, the pre-dating, when you're just really thinking about how you want to show up and how you want to present, and when you're actually on the date, and even the post-date experience. Be as authentic as you possibly can, and make only those choices that serve your highest good. So this goes back to launching from the place of self-love. Make choices that serve your highest good. So when you're looking at a potential partner, or you're considering, do I want to date this person? Do I want to have a second date with this person? Would this person be a good partner for me? Well, let's talk about what serves your highest good. Depending on conditioning and family upbringing, there may be certain things that you've been taught to look for. For example, financial stability, or good looks, tall, dark, and handsome. I mean, all these different things, right, that we've been trained to think about we might want in a potential partner. And then there are other things like hygiene, right? That's important for many of us. Clean teeth, smelling good, showers at a decent rate on a regular basis. These types of things are important to us. But sometimes we have superficial interests, superficial cravings, or sometimes we want things that we think we're attracted to, things that our parents taught us were important. But if we're honest and true to ourselves, those things don't necessarily serve our highest good, or they may not be as high on the priority list as maybe family might say it is. So another thing, ask for your right and left brain hemispheres to sync. with the ideals, desires, and action that serves your highest good. So a lot of the work that I do with clients is clinical neuroplasticity. I help clients to reset their brain and to create neuropaths that actually serve whatever mental health goals that they have in the moment. So it may sound really silly, but talk to your own brain. Left brain being more, logical and pragmatic and strategic. Right brain being more creative and intuitive and emotional and feelings. Ask those parts, or give yourself permission to sync right and left brain hemispheres, so that as you are making decisions about who and what you're attracted to, it's coming from a completely balanced place, both logical and practical based on your needs, your specific needs, as well as you don't want to just attract someone who is very practical, strategic, and pragmatic all the time, right? You want to have fun. I'm guessing, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know if it were me, I'd love to, I love engaging with people who are also sensitive to my emotional needs and have the ability to articulate their own emotional intelligence, right? And I love creativity and fun, and I would imagine that's the same for a lot of our hum community, that you want that balance of being able to date someone, maybe take it to the next level, build a life with someone, cohabitate with someone where you can, yes, pay bills, on time and save money, but also go on vacations or cook together or take walks around the block together and maybe build a garden, do creative things. So giving yourself permission to balance your right and left brain hemispheres when it comes to integrating what your desires are and what actions are required that serve your highest good. Also, for those of you that are open, consider meditation to clear your mind and to ground yourself on a regular basis with regards to you remaining your true self as well as true to your values consistently. So again, for those of you that are just joining, we're looking at questions. We're only going through 3 questions today, and I'm giving some points as to how to approach dating based on some of the questions that have come up from our community, our hum community. And this one question is, how can I be sure what is driving my attraction or interest in a person? Is it me or is it my conditioning? So meditation and grounding or whatever type of spiritual or universal or affirming practice that you might incorporate on a regular basis, just to make sure you're clear, so that when you're approaching dating and looking at attraction to other people, it's really coming from an authentic place that aligns with who you are. And recognize we can change. One of the things I said earlier is that our personal style in a variety of areas changes over time. So the person that we were 2 years ago may be very different from the person we are right now. Core values stay the same. Hardwiring stays the same. But we may experience flexibility, right, in our thinking over time, and especially in terms of who we're attracted to. So using meditation to clear your mind and ground and make sure that you are truly launching from a space of authenticity will help. Trust your gut to match your authentic intentions. So once you've cleared the mental space and you are launching from that space of truth for you, trust your gut, follow your gut. A lot of the times we don't follow our gut. A lot of the times we are thinking about, well, what would my mom think? Or what do my parents want? Or what will my grandmother say? And really, all due respect to our parents and our grandparents, but really, it doesn't really matter what they think. I don't want to offend anybody, because I recognize that culturally, some cultures really place a lot of value in terms of what parents think and grandparents think. But at the end of the day, you are the one who will build a life with this potential partner. You're the one who will make decisions with this partner. You're the one who will grieve with this partner. And consider, as we're thinking about dating, we want to attract someone into our life. For those of you that actually want meaningful, consistent partnership, maybe monogamous partnership, we don't only want someone that we're physically attracted to, who we have fun with. We actually want someone who can anchor and hang in there with us during the tough times, right? Because we know in life, like look at this last year and a half with the pandemic, a lot of people died. Some of us had family members die. Some of us had friends or coworkers that passed away or at least got really sick. When we're going through difficult times, we want to have someone in our life that not only gets us and knows how to have fun, but we want to have someone that we can truly be ourselves with and can strategize with and problem solve with and make decisions with, and someone who can just be there with us, someone who can hold us not only physically, but emotionally and in all ways. So you may be conditioned to want or expect certain things, but ask yourself, are these things healthy? Are they appropriate? And are they aligned? So again, the question that we're looking at is, how can I be sure what's driving my attraction or interest in another person? Is it conditioning or is it really me? So although you may have been conditioned by family, culture, neighborhood, upbringing, ask yourself in the moment, what I want, is this healthy? So like if, one of my clients yesterday was saying that she really desires hygiene. When she first meets someone, the way that they take care of themselves really makes an impact on her. It's a huge impression and a determinant as to whether or not she's going to be interested in seeing that person again. And I think that might be true for many of us, right? So in that particular case, that desire for good hygiene is healthy. It's also aligned, and based on your value system, it is appropriate, right? But there may be other things that you were conditioned to believe were important, and they really just aren't that important. For example, if you were conditioned to believe that the right partner for you has to be 6'4", because maybe you come from a tall family, so your partner has to be 6'4", or taller, or whatever it is. That might not be appropriate. That might not be helpful. It might not be a healthy mindset, because you might meet somebody who's 5'10", who's perfect for you in every other way, right? So being flexible and recognizing where we're maybe being rigid can be super helpful. And do these things match your energy? So whatever it is you find yourself attracted to and wanting, you notice something in another person, at the end of the day, while the person might be total eye candy, right? Physically, they might look amazing, or they may have these incredible qualities. Maybe they can make you laugh. They're so smart. We have these things that we all get crushes, right, for various reasons. But once you get beyond the initial crush and the initial attraction, whatever that is, does this person have the ability to match your energy? Does this person have the ability to see into your heart space? And you're not necessarily going to know that when you're first initially dating, right? But these are some of the things that will help you determine whether you're actually genuinely attracted to the person, and are they a right match, versus is it just your conditioning? So does the way the person moves through the world serve your highest good, as well as the highest good of the person? Right? At the humhum, in the humhum community, we are attempting to be high conscious humans to humans, engaging on a completely different level with a different mindset and a different heart space, launching from authenticity and truth, the highest good of all, right? The highest good of the collective, our community. And so, of course, being true to self, operating in incredible, radical, impeccable self-love and self-care, knowing thyself, launching from there as we approach the dating experience. But also, does their energy match mine? Does mine match theirs? And does the experience of us dating serve the highest good, not only for me, but for them as well? And then finally, are you willing to compromise and reevaluate what you believe you are attracted to? And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, that our personal style changes in a variety of ways over time. So what we might be attracted to in our 20s may look very different in our 30s. And what we thought we wanted when we were children, being raised by parents or caregivers that operated a certain way, may look very different in our adult life. So giving yourself permission to be flexible and malleable and integrate all of the ways that you are uniquely changing and evolving. Many of us changed over the last year and a half. Some of us for the better. Some of us went into hermit mode and came out stronger and with goals and skills and things that we didn't even know we were capable of. One of my clients is a teacher, and he came out of the pandemic as a woodworker. He is now building all kinds of amazing things. He created a greenhouse, and he created a dog house, and he built a doll house, and it has become his passion. Although he's still teaching, he came through the pandemic with a skill that he didn't even know he had, and he absolutely loves it. Okay, so question number 2 that Alexandra and I were able to formulate from some of the questions that have come forward. I want to trust myself more to date people that align with the values I have rather than fall into patterns or loops and go for the same people that are not great for me. How do I build trust within myself? Wow, right? So I would imagine that's an experience that several of us have had, different face, same person. Hoping for the best, but finding maybe that you're in a pattern of dating a particular type of person. Not necessarily bad, but not necessarily something that you ultimately want or that is fulfilling for you. And, I work sometimes with clients who have experienced narcissists, and they're often very shocked that they've dated multiple narcissists, and they don't understand why this keeps happening when they're so clear they don't want to be with narcissistic personality disorder. And yet it's that conditioning. Oftentimes, on that note, when you're dating someone who's narcissistic, a lot of the time it's because an early parent or early caregiver was narcissistic, and at a very young age, the person was conditioned to people please or accept chaos or accept inconsistencies, and just trained to try and please or work harder to please the narcissist. And so these types of experiences in our early life condition us oftentimes as we're older to be attracted to people that are not necessarily the best for us. And so again, how do I build trust within myself? So I would say align with your truth, align with your values, activate the highest version of yourself, and then anchor into that. So to say a little bit more of that, when you are honoring your highest good and you are launching from a place of self-love, it's easier to know who you are, how you're moving through the world, and what your truth is. When you align to that moment by moment, second by second, honoring your truth unapologetically, and then activate what aligns that truth. So let's say, for example, my truth is that I want to eat healthy, organic foods, and I want to live in environments that are sustainable and protect the planet. Then for me, then I'm going to make choices in terms of dating and how I dispose of my trash, how I recycle, when I recycle, what I do with my soil, whether I grow my own foods, right? Because that's my truth. So I'm going to activate experiences that align with that truth so that I can remain consistent. And then I'm going to anchor in that truth with affirmations, declarations, and checking in with myself on a regular basis. So affirmations are extremely positive and very, very helpful because they create neuropaths. So if you are making I statement affirmations or third person affirmations, such as, you know, you are a good person, or a first person affirmation is I am a good person. I give myself permission to align with the highest version of myself. You are achieving excellence. You are deserving of love. You are a person of value. You are sharing your value with others, and the universe matches your energy. Okay, so whatever you choose, I, which are first person affirmations, or you, which are third person affirmations, any combination of those are extremely effective for creating new neural paths and for anchoring your knowledge of self and your self-acceptance and your self-care and your integration of all that you are, all that you've learned from your education and your life experience. When you say affirmations, you basically ground that. You anchor all of your collective experience and education and growth and learning into your brain, right? Into the neural paths, also into the heart space, also into the nervous system, and into your consciousness. So giving yourself permission to anchor with affirmations. And then what are declarations? Declarations as well. I declare that I am worthy, and I therefore will achieve my goals. That's a declaration. Or another declaration could be, you know, I do my best and my nervous system calms so that I can remain true to myself. You can declare anything. They're very similar to affirmations. The difference is that an affirmation is a positive statement about you or your life, the experience, and the declaration is what you are claiming for yourself. It is what you are bringing into your experience, kind of like law of attraction. Also, so how do I build trust with myself? Ask yourself questions such as, is this true for me? Is it appropriate? Is it helpful? Is it timely? Is it aligned? So when you ask yourself questions, you're giving, and it's interesting, there's some research recently about people who talk to themselves, not people who are psychotic, but regular people like you and me who actually talk to ourselves. The research shows that we have a higher level of emotional intelligence because we ask ourselves questions and we give ourselves permission to answer those questions, and then we integrate a self-referent response. Self-reference is when you actually go within to find the answers to whatever your questions are, or whatever problem you're facing. Object reference is when we go without and we ask a third party or we look at literature. There's nothing wrong with getting advice from others or doing research. Obviously, we want to do our due diligence, but we also want to learn to be self-referent, because this actually creates more self-trust when you go within and figure out what your answers are first. So how do I build trust within myself? Practice. Practice, 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 practice. Give yourself permission also to release old paradigms, including stagnant beliefs and toxic behaviors and self-sabotage. In other words, building a relationship with yourself where you trust your own guts related to dating, it's practice. It is work. You know, we have to be honest with ourselves and take a look at, what are the toxic traits that I have? Am I toxic? Have I ever been toxic? Owning that, going into your own garden and pulling out your own weeds and choosing to be the best version of yourself, releasing stagnant beliefs, old belief systems, old conditioning, maybe from parental upbringing, early caregivers, neighborhood, culture, things that no longer serve, things that are not aligned with who you are becoming. If the belief is unhealthy or toxic, or if there are self-sabotaging tendencies, what are you willing to do about those things? You see, before we even go into dating, we actually want to do a significant amount of work, introspection, reflection, healing, honesty, healing the old wounds, letting go of the baggage, releasing those things that no longer serve, those mental constructs that are the direct result of maybe pain or trauma, or maybe judgment, maybe self-judgment, maybe feelings of guilt, maybe feelings of shame. Like, for example, when a person does find themselves repeatedly dating narcissists, oftentimes there's a lot of guilt around that, and a lot of shame, and a feeling of self-betrayal. How is it that I continue to find myself in these circumstances that are unhealthy and aren't serving my highest good? So some of the work around that is self-forgiveness and self-love. Going in your own garden, saying, oh, okay, there are the worms, there's the parasites, there's the weeds. What am I going to do about that? How am I going to heal my own garden with love and nurturing, so that I'm no longer attracting something that doesn't serve me and makes me feel really badly about myself? That starts before you go on dates. And on that note, that's one of the reasons why we have our Conscious Date Practice Group, which will be meeting this Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is a forum for people to just come in and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of dating, to practice communication, to be vulnerable, to open up and share what has worked and what hasn't worked. We had a participant recently say that she went into her date completely focusing and imagining all the things that had gone wrong, and her date had happened before the group, and the group practice was all about imagining everything going well and focusing on what could go well as a way of creating the space for a better experience. And so, she was vulnerable and said, gosh, I wish I'd had this experience before my date. But this is why we meet, so that we can be vulnerable, and we can practice, and we can talk, and we can dialogue, and we can ask questions, and we can share collective wisdom, so that we can pull the weeds out of our garden and beautify our garden, metaphorically speaking, and become better versions of ourselves. Okay, so the next question that we pulled together, I have all of these notions of what an ideal partner should be, what they should look like. But then I date someone else. Why is that? Am I internally rebelling? Am I sabotaging? How do I integrate the conflicted parts within me so that my head and heart line up? And so this kind of ties into some of the things that we've already talked about: being true to self, launching from that place of self-love, really giving yourself permission to it's a balance, right? So I was talking earlier about right and left brain balance, giving yourself permission to let them both sync up, so that your dating choices and the way you move through the world are a combination of pragmatic, strategic, logical with intuitive, emotional, creative, right? Like bringing them together, but also head and heart space. So this is interesting. There's times when we want head to lead, okay? Brain, just completely brain, logical, head space. And then there's times when we want to drop into heart. And so I have found in my clinical experience, when it comes to business and strategy and planning goals, setting goals, work-related things, being in head works very well. But when it comes to relationships and interpersonal dialogue and communication, both with self and others, I find dropping from head to heart works way better. And so as you think about, how do you make sure head and heart line up? Well, you have your practical ideas and goals and thoughts, but I would say lead from heart when it comes to relationships. But of course that means being true to yourself first. When I say lead from heart, I don't mean people please and sacrifice yourself, at the expense of yourself for others. That's not self-love. That's not self-care. Launching from that place of self-love means you are grounded and anchored in knowing who you are, what you need, what you want, and how you want to move through the world. Being super clear about that and not compromising that at all. launching from high self-love, high self-esteem. That high self-esteem and self-love builds confidence, and your self-confidence radiates. It is so attractive. It's so appealing when you are launching from a place of self-love, which of course is grounded and anchored in self-care and self-value. Of course, your self-care practices are the combination of habits that you are implementing to be a better version of yourself. That's how self-love is created. So when you launch from that platform, I think it's a lot easier to move from the heart space, because love is the way. It's sort of like the self-love is the map for allowing you to truly access your own heart and then communicate from heart when it comes to relationships. So the question is, how do I know, I feel conflicted at times, and how do I know if my heart and head are lining up? Am I self-sabotaging? Am I rebelling? Why is it that I have this ideal of who I want to date, but then I end up dating a different person, or quote unquote the wrong person? So it could be a combination of things. Sometimes the mind and the heart are conflicted. Sometimes the other people's ideals have infiltrated our own head and heart space. So don't forget, our brains act like radio transmitters. So when you're interacting with another person, you are picking up on the signals that they are, projecting to you. We also are responding to pheromones. So if a person is projecting their fear, their insecurity, or whatever it's not necessarily negative. They could be projecting an image that isn't even necessarily rooted in their truth. They may be doing a lot of affirmations, and they may be projecting, they may be thinking about their older brother, and they're projecting their older brother. They're channeling their older brother. And so the person that you meet when you first initially meet someone isn't necessarily the true authentic self. It could be the I hate to say it, the false self. It could be the self that they perceive themselves to be because they haven't done their own internal work. It could be that you're projecting onto them what you believe that they are, what you want them to be, or what you need them to be. It could be any combination of things. So going back to what I said earlier, recognizing that our personal style changes over time and giving ourselves permission to adjust and be malleable and adjust to those changes in terms of the way we think, the way we communicate, and realizing that what we see from at the very beginning may adjust over time without judging anyone and saying, well, they were fake. They said they were this and they acted this way, but come to find out they're not. Well, maybe they've just adjusted. And let's be honest and let's be fair. As people get more comfortable with themselves in their own skin, and as they become more comfortable in the dating experience, they do tend to shed layers and reveal more of who they are. I think that's kind of just human nature. Sometimes we want something on paper that our heart and spirit do not want whatsoever. So, sometimes because of conditioning, we think we want someone with this kind of portfolio and this kind of whatever, and our heart and our spirit could care less about those things. That's going to create cognitive dissonance, and that's where going back and following your gut and really listening to your gut is going to be very important. That cognitive dissonance, if that's showing up in your dating experience, it's something to step back and look at, and then go back to the drawing board and figure out, what do I have to do to become more aligned so that my head and my heart space are aligned, so that I'm launching from heart. What's going on that I'm feeling this cognitive dissonance? What's going on that I'm feeling uncomfortable with trusting myself? What's happening here? And so giving yourself permission to go back and again realign, right? Activate from your authentic space and anchor and ground in your truth moment by moment. Your dating experience may begin to take a different look. You might give it a makeover, right? The more you are authentic, the more you are launching from self-love, the people you attract and are attracted to may begin to shift over time. So sometimes we are used to being in a state of cognitive dissonance when we're dating, so calm waters are uncomfortable. I'm going to say that again, based on upbringing, maybe chaos, maybe you've dated a lot of dramatic people, or you've been the chaotic, dramatic person, and you're shifting that now, but you're so used to drama and chaos and narcissism and crazy and people pleasing and being the one to rush in and save the day and sacrifice yourself at the cost of yourself. Maybe you're so used to that when you date someone who's calm and peaceful and loving and has the ability to witness you and see you, who knows you, who has the ability to hear you, that might be shocking and uncomfortable. Calm waters may be scary for some of us, and some of us, believe it or not, may choose the cognitive dissonance and the chaos because that's what seems so normal. So this is where, life coaches and therapists and your meditative work and your spiritual practices are really going to serve you very well to help you move through the need to self-sabotage. Sometimes self-sabotage is all we know, and we need to develop new muscle or new coping skills, new strategy. Like a muscle, the brain can integrate trauma and sometimes need some time to really heal so that we can come down from painful, chaotic experiences that caused dysregulation and re-find ourselves, re-explore who are we now? Who am I now? How do I want to move through the world now? What do I want my dating experience to be now? And again, I always encourage us to launch from self-love, launch from the heart space. Knowing who we are from a place of self-love is going to attract others, hopefully, that are also on their journey of self-love. So I want to end today's talk. I'm hoping this was helpful for you. I want to share some declarations that may help us to recognize our own true values versus the conditioning of others. So I invite you to take a nice deep breath, if you like, in through the nose, out through the nose. Feel the shoulders relax, and in through the nose, out through the mouth. On your inhales, calm the body, and on your exhales, calm the mind. And we're going to do an inhale in through the nose, out through the mouth, really sigh out, and really just see if you can let your shoulders and your spine, your vertebra just relax. Here we go. Really just let that sigh out be really luscious, delicious to your brain and your physical body and your nervous system. Really release on those exhales. And then coming back to normal breathing, we're going to just say some declarations. Breathe in between. I am a good human. Let that integrate. I am working towards being my best self consistently. Breathe that in. I embrace new possibilities. I release old paradigms that no longer serve. I am excited about the new. I am allowing myself to grow. I am allowing myself to experience positive relational experiences and interactions. I receive the gift of relational experiences that match my energy and resonate with my core values. I'm going to say that one more time. I receive the gift of relational experiences that match my energy and resonate with my core values. I invite you to take a nice inhale in through the nose, sigh out on your exhale. You can do 2 more of those. Really let it settle, integrate. One more. Thank you for sharing this time with me and allowing me to just share space with you, Hum Hum community. It's always a pleasure. It's such a delight. I look forward to seeing you if it resonates for you to participate in the Conscious State group or Conscious State practice group this Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I will be there. Alexandra will be there. We'll be answering your questions and holding space for you. And I'm wishing everybody a really great weekend. Thank you for your time and energy. Have a great day.